Hey guys, welcome back. Wheel Psychology. I want to say thank you to everybody who watched that first video. It did a lot better than some of my other videos, and I'm really happy about that because that topic does mean a lot to me, and it's awesome to see such a great response from the community. So I'm definitely going to be pushing this series further. Really going to get into more in-depth topics, emotional stuff, relationships. For today's topic, I have to talk about this because right now I'm actually going to the grocery store. This is so fresh on my mind. I need to get this recorded. Basically, I realized a couple years ago, this is going to start with a story, and it's basically going to be an example of a massive character flaw that I have and that I think a lot of other people have. It's hard to sort of realize that you're doing it, and it's kind of funny. When I first started dating my current partner, I tried to cook us some hamburgers, right? And I have to level with you guys. I have like no cooking training from my household at all. We were like a fast food family. You know how it is when you grow up in the Midwest. Fast food is your life, okay? I never really learned how to cook at all. And oh, look out, we got some sand. I really wanted to be like this person who's an adult, right? I'm an adult. I know how to cook hamburgers, he says confidently. Did not know how to cook hamburgers. For some reason, I didn't think it'd be a good idea to look anything up about it. I did not cook these hamburgers for nearly long enough, and I flipped them way too much. Which stuff I know now, after a little more practice, that all the hamburgers I made were damn near raw. For some reason, I was not able to admit this to like myself. Like I was aware that they were kind of raw. Like they were raw in the middle for sure. They were 100% raw in the middle. The outside was like nice, right? So that's kind of how you know I was flipping them too much. I gave my partner the two best hamburgers, right? So that's how you know that I knew, is I gave him the least raw ones, which is fucked up because how am I gonna pretend that I was not aware that they were raw when I gave him the better ones, right? And then instead of admitting that these burgers were raw and that I can't cook, which is it's not a personal failure when I was never taught. It is to a degree, it's not all on me. I should have understood that at that time. I pretended that these burgers were good, and I literally ate raw beef to avoid admitting that I wasn't good at something. Just let that sink in, folks. Because I had to have like a reckoning with this just a few minutes ago. I ate raw fucking beef to avoid admitting that I wasn't good at something. That is insane. That is literally an insane thing to do. Like, as I look back at that now, I cannot believe I did that. And that was not even that long ago. That was like 3 years ago, probably, at most. The point of that story is basically, do you see that enormous character flaw where I feel like I have to be good at everything to the point that I will lie to myself and other people and potentially feed them undercooked beef? Okay, trust me, he knew it was not that well cooked. This was not a surprise to anybody. I was kind of honest. I was like, okay, these burgers might be a little underdone. That's like a massive undersell. The ones I had essentially had only a little bit of cooked beef around the edges and then were completely raw. Basically, when you are dealing with people that you care about, something you should try to remember is how you view their opinions of you makes a big difference in the things you say and do around them. Like, you will not act honestly because you are trying to portray yourself as this better person because you don't want them to think that you're bad. That's kind of a really complex concept, I feel like, but it has to do with like ego and stuff, right? When you have this inflated ego, this idea of yourself, and you want other people to view that idea of yourself as reality, you will lie and deceive unintentionally both yourself and them to make them see you in alignment with your ego. And when it doesn't work is when shit really hits the fan. That's what I'm starting to learn. So, all right. Catch back up in a second. Isn't that crazy? I was more willing to eat raw beef than just say, oh, sorry, I never got taught how to cook and I'm not very good at it yet. Like, how hard is that to say? Like, I just said it so easily. And guess what? I didn't get food poisoning or something, but definitely could have, right? Like, it's this level of the stupidity that boggles my mind, right? And it's funny because it was me as well. You get sort of an extra look into the level of someone who's that stupid, right? And I say that in a kind of a kind way. Like, I don't hate myself. I just know I make a lot of mistakes, and I also have a hard time learning from my mistakes. And that's frustrating. And I find it better to kind of laugh instead of just being perpetually down, you know? It doesn't help me and it doesn't help anybody else. When I make other people happy, that makes me happy. So that's something I try to do. Basically, like, folks, if you're out there and you're somebody, like most people, who's not good at everything, you know, like everybody, it is okay to admit you have messed up before you do something as extreme as eating raw meat to prove a point. Like, I don't know if any of y'all have seen Rick and Morty. There's a scene where Rick doesn't want to confront the fact that he's not a good father and he's using portals and Morty and adventures as escapism from his problems. And to avoid talking to Morty about that, he would rather eat human flesh.
Bicep or quadricep?
Bicep. Seriously, Rick? Is it really easier to eat human flesh than to just tell me why we're still here?
Obviously, what I did is not that same level. It's that crazy amount of effort you're willing to put in subconsciously to defend that, like, mind state. That's a sign. Like, that's a sign. You know, it's so funny. Guys on big sport bikes like that will constantly tell me, I wish I had the balls to do what you do. Doesn't that blow your mind a little bit? Now, that guy actually was geared up. That's pretty rare out here. In Colorado, you're not required to wear a helmet on a motorcycle, which basically means there's tons of dudes on Harleys with zero gear on the highway. And they will always tell me, oh, you're crazy for that. I could never do that. I wish I had the balls to do that. And I just look at them like, bro, you are wearing zero gear with your wife on the back of your Harley also wearing zero gear. How are you gonna say that to me? So isn't that kind of funny, right? Everyone is like unaware in their own special way. That's something I'm starting to learn. Even when you think you're aware, you could not be more unaware, essentially. Which is kind of fucked, but I think it's okay. I think, I gotta stop swearing, bro. It's supposed to be family friendly. Kind of. I don't know. Are these topics family friendly? Someone let me know in the comments. Is this video series family friendly or is it too deep? As people, we should try to be more accepting of our own shortcomings, because you will never amount to this perfect idea you have in your head, that ego of yourself. You will never achieve that. And it sucks. It sucks for me. It means a lot to me to have a strong ego and be a good person. And it seems like the more you focus on it, the further away you are from that goal. I think the true way is just be nice to people. Treat other people how you want to be treated, which is probably nice. In that regard, I'm not so worried about it. But man, I honestly had to get that story out here because I know there is somebody out there who's about to relate to that story. And maybe you could see it before it happens. Before you take a bite of that raw meat, question, is it worth it? That's all I gotta say, folks. Thank you for joining me on Wheel Psychology today. I think I'm gonna show a little more footage of me riding back. Do y'all see this? This road is brand new. They just paved this whole road. Look at this. Is this not the most beautiful road you have ever seen? So after I'm done at the grocery store, y'all gonna get some footage of me holding groceries and enjoying this lovely road. Bye.